Okay, so today I'm here to talk about an important and somewhat popular topic in the gun world, and that is what's called everyday carry. Everyday carry is a firearm that you're going to use for self defense, that you're going to try to make portable and concealable so you can have it with you more frequently. Now, when choosing an everyday carry firearm, I developed kind of an acronym, and I read some of this other places, but I've tweaked it and kind of made it my own. So I use the acronym REAP, REAP, and that stands for reliable, easy to use, accurate, and powerful. And I'm going to go through and explain that and give examples of each. So most important is reliable. You don't ever want to compromise and buy a cheaper gun that is not reliable. You want something that's going to function reasonably every single time you go to use it. So, just an example here, all right? And this firearm has been cleared. This is the CZ70 I had in a previous video, and if you remember from me shooting it, with some ammo it didn't work too well. It jammed. Other ammo it was reliable, but it generally was not a super reliable gun. So I mean, if this is all you've got, it's definitely better than a rock, but it's not super reliable. So not an excellent choice. Another gun that is not a good choice because of reliability and safety features would be something like this. This is a Browning Buckmark. All right. And the reason I would say that this is not reliable, this is a 22 long rifle. 22 long rifle semi-automatics are finicky, very finicky, and they can jam. And this one's also designed for target or hunting, which means all the little tiny parts inside are machined to very tight tolerances, which means the slightest little thing that goes wrong, it'll jam. In addition to that, this does not have a firing pin block, which if you remember my video on gun safety, I mentioned that's something that I think is important. There's no firing pin block. So it can go off easier than other pistols. So it's not really reliable. It's also not really safe. It's fine to carry in a holster outside of your waist while hunting or something like that, but that's not the same as everyday carry. Lots of times you have budget guns and you have good guns, and it's about $100 difference in price between a good quality gun and a budget gun. So $100, and this is something you're betting your life on. Yeah, I'd go with the gun that's just a little bit more expensive. Now, ease of use is next. You want a gun, and this is very specific. You want a gun that is easy for you to use effectively. Not me, not the neighbor, not the guy down the street. You to use effectively. Everybody is different. Everybody's hand sizes are different, hand shapes are different, hand strengths are different, eyes are different. So what works well for one person may not be easy to use for someone else. So I'll give you some more examples. So this is what I like the best. It is very reliable. This is a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, and it is very easy for me to use. It came with different versions of this grip, so it can fit my hand perfectly. When I am shooting it, my finger falls kind of perfectly on the trigger naturally. Whenever I'm shooting, the sights are relatively easy for me to use. They're bright sights. I can see them easily. They are tritium sights, so I can see them in the dark. The one thing I didn't like when I bought it was the trigger. So ease of use. Trigger is a big deal to me. It had this hinge trigger that went, and the travel distance was like, in my opinion, it felt like it was 5 miles before it would fire. And that always threw me off. So once I changed the trigger, this gun is very easy for me to use. I practice with it at speed. I practice with it for accuracy at distance. It is very easy for me to use. It's also pretty easy. My younger daughter uses this gun pretty effectively. I just changed the grip out so it's smaller, fits her hand a little better. She shoots it well. Other people maybe not so much. Some people may find that it's kind of heavy, or that it's awkward, or that the grip doesn't fit them right. So not everyone's grip is going to be the same. So my wife, for example, she shot all these pistols, but what she shoots the best is this little guy. This is Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. It's in 380. For her, she actually shoots this thing like a champ. She shoots the targets quickly. She can shoot accurately with it. I can, however, it's not as easy as my M&P. So me and my wife, we have the his and hers. We both have Smith & Wessons. I have the M&P 2.0. She's got the Bodyguard 2.0. Now, mine's a 9mm, hers is 380. But for me, this is kind of small for my hand a little bit. My hand has a tendency of bumping this little slide lock, which can cause a malfunction. The trigger, it's just a little bit rougher than I like, but it's not bad at all. I do find the sights on this gun particularly easy to use, but because of its size, so the sights are very intuitive. The front sight is tritium. The rear sight is like this U-notch, so it's really easy for me to find the sights quickly. But it's just a little bit small for my hand, and that creates a little bit of a problem. Even though it's only slightly smaller than, see, this is what I also sometimes carry, my SIG P365. It's just slightly bigger, all right? Even with the 365, I use the extended magazine to get a little better grip, and then it fits my hand better, and the trigger, I really love the trigger on this. So you want a firearm that is easy for you to use. A couple other things here. I don't have an actual Glock, but I have this fake plastic Glock. I don't have any kind of problem with Glocks. So sometimes there's people who practically worship Glocks, and they're like, Glocks, you guys, Glock, 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 Glock. And, you know, they are great guns. They're very reliable. They're very good priced. Right? And there's so many aftermarket things that you can buy. There's so many accessories. It's easy to find the parts. So I love Glocks, just not for me, because for me, for whatever reason, this grip and the way my finger falls on the trigger with Glocks feels awkward. So while they're great guns and they're great for a lot of people, I find them awkward to use. So while they are great guns, they're not great guns for me. So you want a gun that is easy for you to use. Another example, ease of use. This is my 1911. Now I use this for hunting and for fun. It's a 45, but there's one problem with why it's not easy for me personally to use. All right, this is the safety right here. It is a right hand only safety. Now this gun has no firing pin block, so you want to use the safety on this pistol, but it's right-handed only. There is not a safety on this side. So this safety is meant to be operated with your thumb like this on your right hand, but because I'm a lefty, nope, doesn't work. So while this gun is really fun to shoot, and it's perfectly fine for hunting, because for hunting I can just it's not a life or death situation if I shoot a pig or not. I can just reach over, pull it like this, or I can use my grip like this and reach over, which is kind of awkward. You wouldn't want to do this in a self-defense situation, but it works fine just for fun and for hunting. So this would not be a gun that's easy for me to use. However, they do make these with ambidextrous safeties, and so that would be maybe a good choice if I were to get a 1911 style pistol to carry, or for someone who's maybe right-handed and they don't have to worry about being an awkward lefty like me. So in addition to that, this one kind of falls under the reliability thing. It's super reliable with some ammo, but it does tend to be finicky. So when it goes back, just kind of jumping back, most important thing is reliability. Make sure the ammo you're going to use is reliable in that gun. So this gun shoots some ammo super, super reliably. And others, it's finicky. Kind of like the CZ70, but not quite as bad. All that means nothing if you can't hit what you're aiming at. So the A, accuracy. And once again, you want a firearm that you can shoot accurately. Not me, not that guy over there, not the guy down the street. That you. Accuracy is relative, and some people can shoot some guns very well, even though they're theoretically less accurate. My oldest son was shooting his really nice 45 that has a great trigger, super accurate. It's one of the most accurate mass-produced pistols that they've ever made. And he's also got a budget Taurus 357. Well, guess which gun he shoots better? That budget Taurus 357. He's very accurate with that gun. I am very accurate with this gun. I am very accurate with this gun. All right. I am very accurate with a lot of these guns. This one I have a tendency of pulling it a little bit to the right when I shoot. This one I'm pretty accurate up to a shorter range, about 7 yards. I'm pretty accurate with this, and after that it becomes more of a stretch to shoot really precise. I'm not as accurate with this one because it has different sights than what I'm used to with the other guns. It has these old GI style sights, and you kind of hold them differently on the target, and I'm not used to that. So I can hold a good group, but my good group tends to not be exactly where I want it, so I'm not as accurate with it. But this gun right here, for example, I'm pretty accurate with, but my wife is very accurate with. So it is about what's accurate with for you. When it comes to self-defense situations with a firearm, shot placement is the most important thing. Did you hit the person trying to hurt you where you were aiming? If not, it's not effective. So you want a gun, you want a firearm that you can shoot accurately. Like I said before, shot placement, where you hit the bad guy, is the most important factor for stopping the bad guy. But that's not all. This is a heavy debate, but I'm going to keep it kind of simple. The P stands for power. Yeah, people will say, oh, it's all the same. No, the more powerful the handgun, the better, period. However, that should not mean you compromise other areas. For example, so this 45. This 45 is more powerful than this 9mm. But this one's easier for me to use. This one's more accurate. And something else that I take into account when it comes to power. Power to me is not just about how powerful an individual bullet is. It's also how many bullets the gun holds, the firearm holds. This holds 8 + 1. This one with the flush magazine holds 15 + 1. So almost twice. They make 17-round mags for this that are just a little bit longer. They even make 23-round magazines for this pistol. So this gun is less powerful round per round, but it balances out because it can hold a lot more bullets. So the power factor between these two is debatable. But the ease of use is not. This one is way easier for me to use. So for me, this is a better gun. I'm also more accurate with this one because the sights work better for me than I am with this one. The trigger's a little better on this one, but hey, it is what it is. But still, with power, you want more power. You want the most power that you can handle, that you can shoot well, that you can shoot accurately. This little 30, this little 32, that you can shoot well and accurately is better than this 45 that you can't. So you want what you can control, what you can handle, what you can use effectively and accurately. So there's one last important kind of factor when it comes to all these things. Everyday carry pistols are all about carrying it usually concealed. So while we have REAP for choosing self-defense firearms in general, we always have to consider the balance between what's easy to use, accurate, reliable, etc., powerful, and what's concealable. So most of the time, this is concealable for me, this M&P 2.0. It's not a huge gun, but it's kind of compact. It's still pretty heavy. It's still kind of thick compared to most other guns that are concealed. So I tend to wear baggy clothing and a heavy belt, so this gun is not too bad for me to conceal most of the time, but not all the time. Sometimes, I'm working out in the heat. Sometimes I'm wearing clothing that I can't really conceal well. This is why I have an alternate carry pistol. So I have two different pistols I use for everyday carry. This M&P 2.0, both are in 9mm, by the way. This M&P 2.0 with a modified trigger. This is an Apex tactical trigger that I love, and this is what I like to carry as much as possible. As much as practical, I guess I should say. When that's not practical, I have this smaller pistol. This is the SIG P365. This one is a lot smaller. It's a lot easier to conceal. It is actually easy to shoot, though, for me, so it's not a big trade-off in a lot of that. At self-defense ranges, I am still very effective with this. I like the sights on it. Yeah, I can't really quite get the angle perfect, but the front sight is they're tritium sights. The front sight is enlarged, which means that when you're aiming, it is quick to acquire. Also, the trigger. I love the trigger on this pistol for a self-defense firearm. It's not super light, but it's light enough. But what I love about it is when I shoot it and it cycles, it naturally kind of resets when I relax my finger. I don't really have to think about resetting it, and so I'm able to shoot this pistol pretty quickly. So it's a very shootable pistol for such a small pistol, and they're reasonably priced. So this is a very popular everyday carry. It's concealable. My wife would not be able to conceal this. Okay, it's too big, too heavy. So she has this. It's small. It's very small. It's also light. So with concealability, the weight of the gun makes a difference. Sometimes you don't have a super heavy belt, or it wears you down when you're working. So this little Bodyguard 2.0 380, in addition to being tiny, it's very thin. Even compared to the 365, it is a bit thinner. It is a lot thinner than my Smith & Wesson, and it is a lot lighter than either one. So this is what works well for her. You want the best pistol that meets the above criteria. A gun you won't carry won't do you any good. So you have to decide your needs. Some people don't carry a pistol on them. Sometimes they'll just put something in their truck, in which case, or their car. In this case, concealability is not as big of a deal. It might not be such a bad idea to carry something bigger like this or like this in a vehicle. But on you, you might say, well, I mean, something smaller like this is plenty adequate. Something small like this or this might be better for the average person. For those of you who are Glock fans, Glock 19s are great. Glock 43s, those are good concealable pistols. Springfield makes several versions of smaller concealable pistols. They now have. I've kind of grown on Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson makes the Shield Plus and the Shield X, which are both really good concealed carry 9mm. So there's a lot of choices out there, more than there's probably ever been. So make an informed decision if you decide you're going to carry a firearm. Do your research. Find a gun that's reliable, that you can use well, that you can shoot well and accurately, that has as much power. Oh, one more thing about power. Almost forgot. How do you know if it has too much power? I have a simple test. Hold the pistol in your non-dominant hand. All right? So I'm a lefty, so that would be my right hand. One-handed, and go to a target and try to fire 2 shots in a row. If you cannot control that pistol, if it's just jerking all over the place and you can't control it, it has too much power for you, and you need something a little bit lower, something that's a step down. So if you're shooting a 45 and you can't control it like that, oh, maybe you need a 9. If you're shooting a 9 like that, and it's a small 9 like the SIG P365, it's very snappy, well, you can't control it. So maybe you need a 380. If you're still having trouble with 380, maybe you need a 32. So you want as much power as you can effectively and accurately control and safely. And you want to find that balance that's perfect for you with concealability and shootability. All right, hopefully this video helps a few people, and have a good evening.